So I wondered something else about these smaller groups that they were talking to you about. Do you have a theory as to why they were doing that?
Well, it's interesting if you go back and take a look at any of the literature concerning communism, specifically the Delphi method or technique, you can clearly see that they use these smaller focus groups to kind of control debate, find out who the troublemakers are, what they think, what they believe. They take notes, and my whole belief in this whole public meeting farce, if you will, it was really truly a farce, was that they're going to take the language that we used and they're going to try to manipulate it in a way this fall to kind of herd the people or usher them in, position them, maneuver them to an area where if you don't take the vaccine, you're labeled as either crazy, a parasite, someone who doesn't care about public health, etc. Because that's kind of the feeling I got from the opposition, if you will, is that if you didn't get these vaccines, you're putting everybody else's life in danger.
Wow. So we're watching this again. Let's had more things again. You mentioned some of the different problems with the vaccine. I showed that Channel 4 clip of you talking earlier. Some people don't want this option out there, so that was good that you got that spread out there. What next? Let's say there's 8 other of these meetings here. You got these documents on your website there at facttruth.com. It starts with "Damn the torpedoes," full speed ahead, basically, or something of that nature. Talking about the vaccines. Is there anything that you learned from those documents that you'd want other people that have similar concerns, or or maybe are open-minded or trying to figure this out? What other questions should they ask? How can, if you say that they were they could be, the CDC was looking at how to mold public opinion, how can we then use the information from meeting to meeting to help people learn from them as well, and so it could grow? Any suggestions? I know it's kind of a
sure. Yeah, actually, this is a colossal battle for the consent of our minds. Because once we give consent, it's gone, and we're going to be basically put into a corner as far as what we can do. We need to go to these meetings. We need to be vocal. We need to let them know that these things are not tested. They haven't been tested properly. A lot of the adjuvants or the elements of the vaccines that cause an elevated immune response have been linked to the MF59, have been linked to the Gulf War syndrome that was in the anthrax vaccine for our soldiers. But the big thing is to go to these meetings, be vocal, ask a lot of questions. Don't let them, and make sure you get an answer. Don't let them get out of tap dancing around to them. One of the big things that actually came out of this meeting, Chris, is that really wasn't covered, because I think everybody was kind of in bewilderment when it was said, is that someone asked, well, how do we know if there's a massive vaccine program? How do we know who has been vaccinated and who has not? And the comment was made, I believe it was by the captain from the CDC. I'm going from memory here, but the comment was made that we are going to have like a paper ID card or an ID card of some sort, and will be tracked electronically.
So that sounds like RFID, correct? Or maybe not, but it's electronically. It could be RFID, or it could be scanned as well. So they're talking already, and this was somebody from the CDC. Let me get this right. They have in the plans identification cards. Did they expand on that, or they just kind of say we have that in the work?
Yeah, and right now everything, Chris, that we're talking about is pure speculation. They did mention that there was going to be an ID card and it was going to be tracked electronically. But that's the question that we need to start to be asking as well at these upcoming meetings: is how are they going to be tracking this? If there's an ID program in the works, what are the specifics of it? Where can we go for the details? Because we know that there has been an agenda to put some form of global ID card in place. And maybe this is the time that they pull a trigger. Who knows? But we need to be vigilant. We need to make sure we ask the questions.
Wow. So, what were some of the other concerns that people had out there that at these meetings? Besides, was the public? Were there other? I guess besides the people that were against the vaccines, was there other things you were hearing from the general public? Some of the other worries, or from the other groups?
Of course, one of the biggest concerns was Baxter. They've been in the news recently where they have kind of had a mix-up where they mixed the live avian flu in with a vaccine. There were big concerns about the virus spreading after the vaccine. I would say the biggest concern is that the target population for this vaccine campaign is they are 6-month-old children and pregnant women. We're planning on giving these vaccines to these infants and women and pregnant women and they haven't even been tested. We don't even know what type of animal DNA has come over. We don't know if they've caused cancer. As a matter of fact, we've had individuals from Novartis being quoted as they are not going to be testing this for cancer, the MF59 adjuvant. There are many, 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 many unanswered questions that they refuse to answer because they know they're in a rock and a hard spot. So the biggest key to this, Chris, is waking people up. Going out. Go to Dr. Sherry Tenpenny's site. I think it's the pandemicfluonline.com. She has tons of flyers that you can go pass out. Make out your own flyers. Go talk with your emergency workers. Go talk with your police officers. Go talk with your state representatives. What they also talked about, Chris, is someone asked, well, if there is a pandemic, what about the WHO clause that basically supersedes national and state laws, state and local laws? And they were very evasive on that question. They said, well, the local and state laws, they can do whatever they want. There's nothing really that I know of that would do that. But we have plenty of quoted resources, plenty of knowledge in this area where we were showing them where, if as it stands now, there's a pandemic level 6.
Is that the highest level, if I'm right? Is that pandemic?
Yes. And with that in place, the World Health Organization can supersede any local or state law, and that includes any vaccine exemption, whether in Colorado it's a medical, philosophical, or religious exemption. They can supersede those exemptions. And as a matter of fact, this is discussed thoroughly. Maybe not thoroughly, not as thoroughly as I'd like, in a document posted by Rand Corporation, talking about the strategies and models for promoting adolescent vaccination for low-income populations.
Now that could be also found on vactruth.com. Is that correct? If they search for it?
Yeah, that's actually at the bottom of the article. There's a link to it there.
A lot of information.
They actually talk about different strategies, and one of those is making the schools into these max vaccination centers.